Hello and welcome back to another episode of Clark and Addison Born into the Ivy. I'm your host, David, and I'm here to talk about the 2025 season a little bit, mostly the NLDS and how it went. Absolutely heartbreaking. However, I was really proud of the team for the way they battled because they went down 2-0, and it would have been really easy to just say screw it and not even win a game. So the fact that they won 3-4 and pushed it back to Milwaukee and then battled in an incredible game that I would have liked more offense for the Cubs, especially. But this team battled, and this team is something to be proud of. In this series, obviously the Brewers won it 3-2. Home field advantage made a huge difference for both teams. For the series, the Brewers had 22 runs to our 17. We had 9 home runs to their 7. Our starter ERA was 6.23. I think very inflated by Boyd, though, in that first game. Matthew Boyd was amazing in game 4, though. Came back and showed what that man is made of. And I'm glad he pitches for the Chicago Cubs. The bullpen ERA, we had 2.70. They had 1.20. Their starter ERA was 8.31. The main difference in the series was this: batting average with runners in scoring position. We had a 148, and they had a 306. We've got to learn how to manufacture some freaking runs, and we have to understand that if players don't go all season or they don't ever work on manufacturing runs at times, then why do we expect them to do it in the playoffs? The Brewers do those things, guys. The Brewers are not better than us, are they? I mean, I guess right now they are because they do those things. We need to do those things. Other teams need to do those things. It's frustrating to me. We need more guys like Nico Horner. We have too many guys like Seiya and Ian Happ. And I'm not criticizing those guys and just praising Nico, because those guys do things that Nico doesn't do. But we need a better balance of that. Guys like Kyle Tucker and PCA can do both, I think. PCA can do it through like bunting. That dude's got the speed to create the same kind of havoc that he creates when he hits a home run. Matt Shaw should be a version of Nico with more power. And I get Matt Shaw is a rookie. He just started. He's going to evolve. Dansby is what he is. But I love him for it. He is an amazing shortstop. And he hits in the 8 hole. So, you know what I mean? Like, what we get from Dansby is all bonus offensively. And he provides that. Don't get me wrong. But those guys at the top, I mean, Bush did his thing. Bush, I'd like to see him continue to evolve. We're going to go into year 3 in 2026 with him. To evolve that and see a little more like he got that base hit up the middle tonight or last night and walked. He had the only walk in the game last night, though. I thought that the team didn't have poor at bats overall. There was a couple of them, but they still could have been better too, if that makes sense. But hats off to the Brewers, man. Like they pitched incredibly well. We pitched incredibly well. There's not going to be much offense when that happens. They got into 3 of them. That happens. We only got into 1. Seiya hit the ball hard every time that he was up there. It happens, guys. Nico was amazing once again, but I'm telling you, I think we need 1 or 2 more guys that Nico does that with. You know what I mean? That is like Nico with that, where the bat to ball contact skills that that matters, especially when we get into the playoffs. We can't just strike out when we have men on first and second, and the only actual chance that we had, and we were making them uncomfortable, and then we strike out 2 out of 3 times. The other one say, hit the ball hard. He just hit it at somebody. But at least Tucker went down swinging. Happ went down looking. Man, you can't look at that pitch. You can't. If you swing and miss, you swing and miss. But at least you tried. You didn't even try in that instance. It was close. Nobody's going to. Ian Happ, nobody is going to convince me that it wasn't close enough to a swung with 2 strikes and in that situation. He's just not. You're not going to convince me of that. And he would have challenged it, and he would have been wrong. And that's frustrating. You can't take a pitch like that in that situation. You just can't. I think Kyle Tucker could have and should have fouled off the pitch that he struck out on, but at least he swung, man. At least he swung, and at least he tried. And I mean that. The way that it sounds, I mean it. I get tired of that kind of stuff. For Ian Happ apologists, yeah, man, he gets his numbers. Where does he get them in the games most of the time? He had a huge 3-run homer. It was about time he did something like that. He gets paid a whole lot of money to do things like that, boys and girls. First time since 2017 the Cubs won a postseason series. Awesome. 92 wins. Awesome. In the regular season. 96 total. Fantastic. First postseason appearance since 2020. Absolutely amazing. But I think we all wanted more from them. And the players tried. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say they didn't. I'm saying Ian Happ talks about his approach all the time. Maybe his approach is not always right. As long as the approach is right, good things are going to happen. Okay. But maybe your approach isn't always right, man. Cubs' notable unrestricted free agents for this offseason. Kyle Tucker, he's the only one of them that is eligible for the qualifying offer, $22 million. I mean, it would be like some kind of mind-blowing thing if he doesn't get that offer. He's not going to accept it. But I don't think he's going to get $500 million at this point either, over 10 years, which was talked about. I'm not sure that he's going to get $400 million. I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, maybe he does from somebody like the Dodgers, and that'll just piss me off even more if that's the case with the Dodgers. And I mean, if the Dodgers are going to keep doing that, I'm not a proponent for a cap. But holy crap, man. Like, sometimes that gets ridiculous. Do I think we're sunk, though, if Kyle doesn't stay? No, I don't. I don't. I think there's a whole lot of other options, but I would love, I want to make this clear. I would love for Kyle Tucker to stay, but not at $50 million a year. And I'm not even sure $40 million a year, unless it's a short-term contract where he can reestablish. He could sign a 3-year, $120 million contract, have an opt-out after 2026. I think the Cubs would be willing to do something like that. But I don't think the Cubs are willing to do a $400 or $500 million contract right now. $300 million maybe, $350. But I think that'd be the tops. And I don't think that's what Kyle's looking for. And I can understand that. But I think he'd be best to get that $40 million a year and have an opt-out after 2026 again and hit free agency at 29. Nothing wrong with that. He's still going to get a $9-10 million deal if he performs the way he did in the first half for the whole season, he's going to. But he's had 2 years in a row now where he's gotten injured, and it's affected those overall numbers. And that matters. And I get that he played through some of the injuries, and that affected his numbers. But when you play, you're judged on how you play. If you're not able to play, then don't play. I think that matters. But you play, and you're affected, so we can't put somebody else out there and all that stuff. You're going to get judged on that. I'm not going to have any predictions for what happens with these guys yet. Willie Castro also is a free agent. Brad Keller, Caleb Thielbar, Drew Pomeranz, Taylor Rogers, Michael Soroka, Aaron Savali, and Ryan Brazier. All guys that on some level or not, I'd love to see back with this team, depending on what the terms are. All guys that at one point or another impacted the team in positive ways, and others impacted them in negative ways at times. But nobody is going to have 100% positive impact all the time. Nobody. You agree? These guys are all human. But all these players played well this year. All of them. Well, maybe not Soroka. I don't think he played bad necessarily, but I don't think that you can make an argument that he played well. But all the others did at times. And were part of the team. And integral parts of a team that did really, really well. Didn't quite get where we wanted them to. But this was a good to solid, great season. It was in there, in the middle probably. In the middle of good and great. They finally got back to the playoffs. They did well. They won a series. They went down to the wire in Game 5. They just came up short. The Brewers have a heck of a team. Good luck to them. But I hope they lose. At some point. Because of their arch rival. But it would also be kind of cool to say, well, we got knocked out. We went down to the wire. We went 9-9 against them, and they're the champs. That'd be kind of cool, too. Not because they're the champs, but to say that we got knocked out by the champs, and that's it. So, I don't think that's going to happen. That's another conversation. But, great ride. Heck of a first year for the podcast. We're going to have a whole lot more content. Whole lot more stuff in the free during the off season. I'll have another podcast probably in the next couple of days, talking a little bit more in depth about like how we felt about expectations. Eli will be on here with me, and we'll break it down a little bit more. This is more about just my feelings, about my quick thoughts. Nothing was jotted down or anything. I prepared nothing. I just wanted to talk about the team and jabber. And thanks for listening to me. Leave some comments. Like and subscribe. Leave some comments. Like on YouTube. And tell me what you think. Leave some 5-star reviews. Have a great day.